All right, and here we are. This is the Working Title Show with Zach Sams, and we are back. We are back. This is the Working Title Show with Zach Sams, and we have a great show and a great guest today. And I'm excited to introduce Scott Miller with Portman Residential, the VP of Development. Is that right, Scott?
That's right. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on today. So we met at a Biz Now panel not too long ago. The affordable panel, wasn't it?
It was the retail and mixed use panel.
Oh, it wasn't the affordable panel. Okay, well that's good because the affordable panel had nobody that was in the affordable multifamily business on it. So that was a good time. We've got a lot of cool projects going around. I'm excited to talk to you about the project you're working on. But Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the development business?
Yeah, I'm kind of on accident, to be honest. Came out of school with a civil engineering degree and went to work for an engineering company and really focused on land development and single family residential, and had an old coworker that got a job at a multifamily development shop and asked if I wanted to come along for the ride, and so ended up making the switch and haven't looked back. So I thought I was going to be in single family for a long time, and made the switch to multifamily and more infill urban mixed use.
Right. Have you been happy with the switch?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to work on. Obviously, you get to kind of drive by everything and see how it comes together, and that part's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but originally you wanted to be a civil engineer?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my license still, and I keep up with it. So I've never stamped a drawing. Don't plan on it, but I still have it.
It has to be helpful in what you're doing, though, I would think.
Yeah, it's a good background. The biggest unknown for us is on the land side. You kind of control your own destiny once you go vertical. But there's so many different things that can be wrong with the land in terms of entitlements or utilities or infrastructure. So it's a good background to kind of understand that piece.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you can't get to the actual going vertical, then you never really get to do what you do, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So at Portman, what's your focus there? What kind of projects are y'all looking at?
Portman's been around for 70 years.
I saw that. I was interested.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how far back y'all went, like 1957 or something.
Yeah, in
like
the
that,
50s.
Right?
Yeah. So our founder, who passed away, started the company in the 50s. He has an architecture background, or he did. And so, high design and quality, and he really started development to give himself the commission, the architecture commission, in a time when it was taboo to be an architect and a developer, because they kind of saw it as, dirtying the purity of the architecture profession. So he actually...
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he actually defended himself to the AIA in court to keep his architecture license.
They tried to take his architecture license because he wanted to do a development?
Because he wanted to make money on development too, yeah.
Oh my God! So he's like now it's pretty commonplace. So he was kind of like a pioneer.
Yeah,
then.
yeah. So now you see a lot of engineers and architecture and design backgrounds in the profession now.
It seems like that just makes a lot of good sense without all those ingredients. I mean, would mixed use even be possible?
I don't know. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So was Portman started in Dallas?
No, in Atlanta. So
Okay.
yeah. So sorry, we're headquartered in Atlanta, and all of our history was started there. Worked on projects throughout the country, and then actually went over to China and the Far East, and worked on projects in Asia, and then also in India. More recently, in the last 15, 20 years, we closed down all of our operations internationally and focused Sunbelt, mostly U.S. Based. It was just too hard to be an international developer as the world was becoming a smaller place.
Yeah, I would think in today's world that would be That would be very difficult.
So focusing on the U.S., based in Atlanta, and then they brought me on to start a Dallas office to focus on Texas and some other surrounding states. So
Oh, okay. So you were the catalyst of Texas.
employee one, yep.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, we're a little similar there. KV, I was a very early employee in Dallas, tasked with growing this area. So, well, that's fun to do it in your hometown.
Yeah, no, it's a great opportunity, and working with a great firm with a long history, but kind of new kids on the block in terms of Texas. So,
Yeah.
was working out of my home and kind of garage for the first year, and then got some space, and we've got a couple other guys with us now. So,
That's cool. So, was it 2021 when you came to Portman?
21, yep.
Okay. And so, well, let's jump in because the project that y'all are getting the most press on around here is the Dallas Gateway.
Sure.
Was that the first project you've really gotten started here in Dallas with Portman, or did you do anything prior to getting this one going?
Well, we've got 3 deals that we own the land in Texas. They're in Austin, Houston, and Dallas.
Right.
Dallas is by far the largest. That's 3.5 acres in the Arts District. And then we've got 4 acres, I'll call it domain adjacent, right next to the soccer stadium in Austin.
Yeah, the domain. Yeah,
Yep.
that was a big time project
Yep.
when that came on.
And then we've got 3 acres off Washington Avenue in Houston, which is a fun part of town.
Oh, very cool. So, are all those in various stages of development, or where are those landing on the?
Yeah, they're all in pre-development. Like I said, we own the land on all of them, and so we're excited to kick them off. Obviously, the market's moved away from us a bit, but
Sure.
we're once it kind of comes back our way, we'll put our foot on the gas and go on all those.
So, I guess y'all originally wanted to break ground already in Dallas. I don't know about the other projects. So, have y'all slowed that down a little bit?
Yeah, I think all of them have slowed down. We had an office component on the Austin project that we pivoted and switched to multifamily 100%. So
was that a debt driven type of thing?
it was just a market driven. The tech tenants started pulling back in Austin, a lot of sublease
Yeah.
space on the new construction side. And we still had an opportunity, to have a solid business plan with an all multifamily with some ground floor retail that still works. And so that seemed, it just made a lot of sense to switch.
Right. So most of y'all's project, I was looking on your website. I cheated. So most of y'all's projects are kind of across the Sun Belt, Southwest Texas, and then through the Southeast. Is that pretty
That's
accurate?
correct. Yep.
What are y'all seeing? Just because office is so fun to talk about.
Yeah.
What are y'all seeing across those markets? Is there still some demand for office? Is it still something y'all want to
Yeah.
focus on, or is that something y'all are pivoting?
No, I mean, we're under construction on quite a bit of office. I mean, we've got a large spec office building in Midtown Atlanta, over 500,000 feet going up right now.
Oh wow.
We've got a couple other buildings, smaller ones, but we're seeing people still want to go to the office. They want to go to the best new shiny toy, and
Right.
but they're taking less higher quality space. So they're paying more per foot, but they
not
want
as-
smaller footprints.
Right. That seems to be the trend across the board, isn't it?
Yeah.
This the office assets are interesting. The building we're in here at Lincoln Center, it's been here for a long time, but I used to office out of here, but what they're doing in these office spaces is pretty incredible. I mean, the size of these gyms, the amenities inside, is that just what you have to do now to make these attractive?
Yeah, I think everyone's always talked about experiential retail, and I think the office kind of needs that too. Almost a white glove service of, I want that hospitality feel in my office building is what a lot of the new construction is trying to go for, and something that's different. Whether it's your F&B offering or a lot of exterior amenity space. People want patios and balconies to be outdoors. And higher design, not everyone wants kind of the glass box of the 80s,
Right.
with the light, white, and bright. The office has changed, its look and feel. for the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I was looking at some of the renderings on y'all's Dallas Gateway project. I mean, those are really, really
Yeah.
cool designs. I hope
Yeah.
that's what they end up looking like. Is that
Of
still the
course.
plan?
That's still the plan. We have 3 towers planned, and we've phased them so where we can start each building separately of each other, which is important. And so the first building will be a multifamily tower with some retail.
Yeah.
But there's an office building planned down the line, and so we're still bullish on office.
Yeah.
Cautiously optimistic would probably be a better word. But yeah, we still plan on building office in the future.
Well, in Dallas, you keep hearing, it's like seems like it's like every day or every week, somebody's leaving downtown and they're going to uptown. I think the most recent one was the Bank of America. But uptown's got all the new stuff, right?
Yeah.
And downtown's kind of, most of that stuff's kind of an 80s product, right?
Yeah.
So is that what y'all are trying to, bring that, new cool uptown product, across the street over to downtown to attract
Yeah.
into that area?
I think that's the natural progression for our city. Uptown is mostly spoken for most of the sites. And
Yeah, it's kind of built out.
the entitlements are tough. The neighborhood doesn't want as much density as they used to. And the Clyde Warren Park was a game changer where it kind of blurred the line between downtown and uptown, especially the Arts District.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so you saw groups build on the south side of the park, which they never would have, but have achieved, great rents and get great tenants and great residential offerings, all the way down to Flora Street and then further east. And then you've also seen some developers even move further south, closer to Farmers Market, with some new developments there.
Like Hoke and their group down there.
Sure, and Todd and those groups. So we really feel like that the center of gravity in Uptown, in my opinion, has shifted in 2 directions, north and south. So it's going to Knox, and then it's coming south to the Arts District.
That's cool. And I would think that would attract. You probably have to start with a little bit lower rent than Uptown when the first things start going. That should attract people across the street because Uptown's crazy expensive.
Yeah, you think so? But there's a couple of buildings in south of the park that are performing very well.
Yeah,
better than their comps in Uptown.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we see that it's a great opportunity for us to kind of tailor our offering and what we like to do in terms of mixed use and find a great site. One advantage we have, a couple advantages we have, our size and scale. We've got 3.5 acres, which is hard to find.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
a big plot in downtown Dallas.
Yeah, and then there's actually another 8 acres behind it that we're also taking a look at, and so that sense of scale and size you can really create your own district with that. So that's exciting, and then the other one is we have great egress and ingress.
Yeah,
being right on Ross and having 75 and 345 right next to us. We've got 2-way streets next to us with Ross and Ruth, and so you don't really feel like you're buried, in Main Street downtown.
I didn't even think about the 2-way street thing, but that's not easy to find.
No, yeah, people don't like driving on Main Street because they get confused where to go. So
I've lived here in the Dallas area my whole life, and if I go downtown, there's a good chance I'm going to go the wrong way down a one-way
exactly,
street.
And so it's a good advantage for us, and especially in terms of office. Really likes that.
That's cool. So how did y'all come about this 3.6 acres? Did y'all demo something, or was it was just there?
No, it's a parking lot.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the previous owner had owned it for a long time. They had acquired it because they also owned an office building nearby, and this was the excess overflow parking for them. COVID kind of changed their thoughts on a lot of things, and we were just at the right time in the right place to put our foot in the door and get something in off market. So it was a great opportunity for us to step into.
Yeah, I think we're finally starting to see some of those COVID silver linings are kind of exposing themselves. Did that did COVID make that? Did that create the opportunity, or did it lower the price? How
I
did
think it
COVID play?
created the opportunity. You know, they had great revenues on the parking
bet.
pre-COVID, and that kind of evaporated overnight.
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. But yeah,
And
if
so-
you have income from parking lots downtown, you didn't make anything.
Right. So that changed their mind, and then also the office building, their biggest tenant moved out, and they didn't need the parking.
Yeah. The office building that's not part of y'all's?
No, it's a couple blocks away.
Okay. Is it same owner of the?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
they sold y'all the parking lot.
Yep.
Do they still own the building?
They do not.
They sold that as well.
The bank took it.
The bank took it. Ooh. Well, unfortunately, I think we're going to hear more stories of the bank taking things.
Yeah,
here.
I think so. We're seeing it. We're seeing every week. You know, Class B office, Class C office, with price reductions and
Yeah.
asking for someone to come in and save it. But I don't know. I don't know if there's any saving it right now.
I mean, I think just the basis, or would have to go down so much for for those things to make sense. You keep hearing about these conversions, but there's a big cost to those conversions, and if you can't buy those those assets at the right price, nothing pencils, especially in the debt environment we're in.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the Dallas skyline, like downtown, maybe, I guess, how long do you think it'll take y'all's project to get to completion? 4 years, 4 years?
Well, it's a 3-year build.
Yeah.
And so the question is, when do we start
When
building?
you get starting, right.
I don't have an answer on that one, unfortunately, but I would love to start it next year.
For sure. So, at 3 years, you said, in the other projects, I don't know what stages exactly that those are all in, but I think they're all been kind of paused a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So, the Dallas skyline could look a lot different.
Yeah.
Y'all's is 50 stories. That's no...
Well, yeah, we're lucky that people want to invest and build in Texas and in Dallas specifically.
Right.
We go to a lot of markets and we evaluate the entire country for our business plan of where we want to be. And 3 of our top 5 markets were in Texas for residential specifically.
Is that Houston, Austin, Dallas?
Correct.
Yeah. I
And
see y'all do a lot in Nashville, looks like.
Nashville, Atlanta, Charlotte, kind of all over the Southeast. We've also have projects in Seattle and San Diego, but those are more exceptions to the rule, but really focused Texas and the Southeast.
Yeah. Are y'all doing anything in Phoenix market?
We've been looking. We don't have anything to speak of right now, but we've got some irons in the fire in Arizona.
Yeah.
As well.
I was reading that Nashville was, I think, 23. Dallas is supposed to be the best real estate. I don't know who comes up with all this stuff all the time, but Dallas was like the number 1 market. It sounds like 2024. I read that Nashville is going to take that spot, which I guess they're maybe exchanging 1 for 2. But yeah, I noticed y'all were in the Carolinas, Georgia.
Yep.
Nashville. I've actually never been to Nashville.
Really?
But
it's a boom town.
God.
It's like Austin. It's young people want to live there. All the tech jobs want to be there. It's got a great lifestyle to it as well.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And so Nashville's a great town.
Yeah, I need to get out there. Something blew me away. Somebody told me that it was the bachelorette party capital of the world.
Yeah.
It's Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
I was like, really?
Okay.
Which, I don't know. It sounds like more fun than Vegas to me. So, in y'all's in the Dallas Gateway, I was reading that y'all got like around 800, 900 units of residential.
Correct.
And then, and maybe this is the article, I think could be old, but it said y'all were going to do these micro units. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, that's the plan. The definition of a micro unit by code is under 400 square feet, and we're not doing all units like that. So I like to call it Texas micro. It's a little bit bigger.
That's probably a good term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a little bit bigger, but small for our market. And the purpose of that is just to differentiate the product, and it's something that we haven't built a lot in Texas. But it's good for the market because it keeps the total check size lower.
Yeah.
which helps a different kind of renter profile afford that
Well, yeah,
building.
I mean, that's the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like nobody can afford some of the stuff that that people are putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's like efficiency size.
Yeah.
When I was in early 20s, I had an efficiency size apartment. I think it was like 500 square feet. But I mean, it's plenty for me. I was
Yeah.
never there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone. I mean, you still blow out the amenities. It's a Class A, 5-star finish out.
Yeah.
It's just the units are smaller. I mean, it's common in gateway markets, especially in the Northeast.
Yeah.
That's just they have to build to because the per square foot rents just get way too high. So
Sure.
We're hundreds of years behind a market like New York, but one day Dallas will be like that. Hundreds of years from now, maybe. But
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of the beginnings of what that looks like.
And I don't know if it's a good thing. We always love to bash the generations below us or whatnot. I don't know if it's a bash, but I was reading like the Gen Z who are they're graduating high school and college now, and they're coming up into the marketplace. Like they don't want to live with anybody. All their friends are like virtual. So it sounds like a perfect. My oldest son would like hit me for saying that, but it seems like a perfect type of maybe pivot to a different product type for some of these younger generations that are,
Yeah. We're seeing, short-term rentals and co-living, which is kind of like student housing for adults.
That's interesting.
Become a thing too. And it's all just kind of a social experiment of, keeping that rent check down because they, like you said, how much time when you're 25 do you spend in your apartment?
Yeah, or how much money do you have to
Exactly.
spend on a fancy apartment?
Yeah.
I never knew these people. There was like uptowns where all the when I was younger, was everybody lives. And I was like, how does anybody afford to live in uptown? But this sounds like a more affordable, but a great option to be down in the heart of the
Just
city.
less space. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's exciting. So, so what else does the Dallas Gateway it's offered? It looks like there's a retail component as well.
Yeah, so I think that's one thing that we do a little bit different is a lot of people do retail, but we spend a lot of time really curating it and putting a merchandising plan together so it's intentional. We don't want to just make 40-foot space and
See who comes.
cold dark shell and then just wait and see, and first nail salon we get, all right, you take it.
Right.
We're a little bit more intentional than that. We have a head of retail he's great on the leasing side. He's got all the connections. He's leased up Avalon in Georgia, which is the equivalent of a Legacy West.
Yeah.
And so he's great at finding the mix of tenants that can really create a place. And so we've got about 40 to 50,000 feet of retail planned for the site at full build out, and it's going to be mostly F&B driven.
Right.
But the thought being, that is really the draw. And I think a lot of office buildings go wrong in that they kind of do this white tablecloth steakhouse, and they want, the most expensive restaurant. And we want it to be a little bit more approachable than that. And so kind of everyone feels comfortable being on site and our destination, and it's something for everyone. We do want high-end restaurants, but more approachable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because you're gonna have a lunch crowd that wants to get in and out, and then you got the people living in the micro units. They're not going to be in steakhouses every single night. So no, that sounds really great. So what you're thinking about who these retailers are and what they're bringing to the table, and I guess part of the thought is will people hang around and visit all of them? I mean, if you got just nail salons and I guess maybe some of just your typical retail that every office has the like the kind of the deli thing in there and all that. I guess y'all have that kind of stuff too, but is a thought of it to to have the amenities that you need localized if you're living and working around there to make life easier?
Yeah, I think that's why anyone wants to live in an urban location, is that they can walk and get everything they need. Obviously a grocer is the holy grail. And that's hard to get in an urban location.
Yeah.
There are a few that have been done in Dallas, which is
Those
great.
little Tom Thumbs.
Tom Thumbs and Whole Food.
Those are doing well, aren't they? Those small Tom Thumbs they put in.
I enjoy them.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. 'Cause you try and find something like that when you're downtown. You feel like you have to drive to the suburbs to get to a grocery store.
Yeah. And so, if you can get your groceries and you can get all your services as well as your F&B, that's a slam dunk. And we really see that as creating a place.
Yeah. So one last thing before we're done. So like you mentioned, y'all bought like the parking area down there. So are y'all building a parking structure with this, or are we, I keep hearing about Dallas keeps reducing the parking limits that they're putting on stuff. So, which, would drive more walking, and walkability would be great. My boss, who was just in town from Manhattan, he grew up there, and like, he starts like kind of getting, I don't know, jonesing to walk, so to speak. He's like, how do we walk over there? I was like, you can't walk down here. There's like one spot in Dallas where you really can walk around. So, is that what y'all are going for, or is there going to be a big parking component along with it all?
We'll have parking, but it will all be in a structured garage.
Yeah.
That's just.
If you're going to have people living in multifamily, they have to put their vehicle somewhere.
Yeah. Fortunately or unfortunately, everyone in Texas still, for the most part, drives. We envision that some people living downtown, and there are people downtown that don't drive or don't have a car.
Right.
But it's not the norm.
Yeah.
And so the market requirements, the market demand for parking exceeds the city code requirement.
It's got to.
Yeah. And so we're still building to what the market requires.
Right.
But there are some markets where the city requirement is higher than what the market demands, and that's really penalizing development.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that in other markets, or does Dallas look at that differently depending where you are?
A lot of times it's suburban.
Okay.
So you'll find that, pick a suburb north of here, and sometimes their requirements are maybe a little outdated and a little bit higher than what we really need to build.
That's exciting. So before we wrap up, is the Houston and Austin projects also on your? Is that under your purview as well?
That is, yeah. So we've got the Houston one is in the same boat, and then the Austin one is in design. So
Okay.
we're currently designing it.
That's exciting. Similar, I think you said Austin's not going to have the office component. Y'all changed that to a multi.
Yeah. So Austin is a mid-rise, 7 stories, all multifamily with some ground floor retail.
Okay. And Houston's more like the Dallas project?
No, it's the same thing as Austin. It's the mid-rise with the retail.
And is that there's just enough office product in those markets right now that it didn't make sense to go there?
Yeah, we went into the Houston one specifically for residential. It
Okay.
was never considered to be an office play. It's a great residential neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then the Austin one we had considered, but like I said, the business plan just made more sense to pivot.
The multi. Yeah. Well, thank God people are still moving to Texas, right?
Yeah, we need to build homes.
Yeah. We need a lot of stuff, but if people keep coming here, the demand will be here, and we'll be able to get it done, I guess. So
I believe that.
Well, man, I'm excited to see y'all's projects come to fruition. They sound really good. We'll link to it from the podcast so people can get on and see y'all's website. And I think there's a couple good articles. I'll talk to you on offline to make sure that I link to the right ones. But the renderings are really cool. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
excited. I'm excited to see how the skyline changes with y'all's project and a couple of the other ones. It's gonna be-
We brought in some great architects locally and from New York to work on that project, and LA. So we brought in a great team, and excited to see that one come together.
Well, man, congrats on the new role you've got at Portman. Sounds like you're having fun.
I am, yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, let's have you back on, down the road when y'all get under construction. Kind of give us an update between now and then. Look forward to seeing you around, brother.
That's great. Thanks.
Thanks for coming on, Scott. This is the Working Title Show with Zach Sams. We'll see you next time.
All right, perfect. I'll put the outro music